Now at 10, how a new Missouri law looks to make paying for breast screenings easier. Plus, another new Missouri law concerns the safety of drinking water in schools.
Former President Donald Trump says he's now a target in a federal investigation looking into alleged efforts to overturn the 2020 presidential election. I'm Cristian Benavides in Fort Pierce, Florida, with the latest on a pre-trial hearing in a separate federal case against the former president.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
A new Missouri law requires health insurance companies to pay the full cost of diagnostic breast imaging. This is KOAM News at 10. I'm Dow Quick. Under that new law, patients won't have to pay a copay or deductible. KOAM's Fernandez Silva has the story.
Chrissy Sabert was 47 years old when she was diagnosed with breast cancer, the second most common cancer among women in the United States. Chrissy was already taking diagnostic breast cancer imaging exams yearly, but it was something else that led her to going back to the doctor.
Popped out of the shower and thought, what is that? Kind of looked like a little divot or a little sunken in place. That was odd. I'd never seen that before.
But Christy is not alone. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, in Missouri, for every 1,000 women, more than 120 new female breast cancer cases were reported in 2020. Imaging exams are a large part of cancer detection and treatment. A new law in Missouri eliminates the cost of diagnostic breast cancer imaging. It will take effect on January 1st, 2024.
Not infrequently, I have patients that are unable to go through with the recommended studies, and cost being the most commonly quoted factor that I have in that. So with the new law requiring insurance to cover 100% of the out-of-pocket costs for some of these studies, I believe that we'll be able to diagnose more breast cancers at an earlier stage and have better outcomes for our patients, and particularly our high-risk patients.
This removes another excuse, another obstacle. This law is definitely a positive in the right direction. I believe it can be a building block because this needs to pass in every state.
The new law not only benefits patients financially, but also mentally.
It will have a significant impact on our patients' mental health. A diagnosis or even a concern for a possible diagnosis of breast cancer has a significant impact on the mental health of our patients. A lot of stress and anxiety is associated with that, and when these patients incur an additional stressor of a large bill, that's not good for their mental health.
In Joplin, Fernanda Silva, KOAM News.
Breast Cancer Foundation of the Ozarks also offers free screening mammograms for people who are uninsured or underinsured. Doctors recommend annual mammograms for women aged 40 and above. Early detection of breast cancer not only improves prognosis, but also provides a wider range of treatment options. If you don't already know how much lead is in the water at your child's school, well, you soon will. A new Missouri law goes into effect this fall, requiring schools to not only test the water for lead, but to do something about it if it's too high. Michael Hoffman has that story.
Parents across Missouri will soon know how much lead is in the water at their kids' public school. That's because it will soon become state law for schools to test it. Here in Clever, the head of operations says he's not worried about those results.
I think we're in a good spot with everything we have.
Willie Howard, Clever School's operations manager, says the high school was built in the early 1930s, but frequent upgrades means no lead pipes.
Over the years, pipes break, things get changed. We have recently started using this building again for our students, and so we're taking walls out, we're moving stuff around, we're changing pipes out, so we know kind of what we're dealing with in most of the walls.
Linda Utzler, who has kids, grandkids, and great-grandkids in the Missouri school system, says the tests are a fantastic idea.
No, I just think it's a great law. I know it is probably going to make a strain on some of the school systems, especially in small communities like this. but I think it's something that we need to do.
According to the new law, schools are required to put the results up on their websites 2 weeks after testing. If there is more than 1 parts per billion of lead in the tests, schools have to work on a solution, like filters or bottled water, to make the water safer. Clever says it's not something they plan to deal with right now.
I think we're in a good spot with everything we have that we don't need to plan for the water bottles right now. Now that could come back later on and they say, hey, something happened and we've got to do it, so we'll make adjustments then.
Clever, Missouri will test the water for lead levels sometime next month. Hey, Doug.
Hey, how you doing? I guess we're going to do a little bit of weather
Yeah,
here.
let's do that.
Of course, it was super hot for us today. Again, above 100 degrees, 101 for an afternoon high. Started at 73. 91 was our average high, or is our average high, so 10 degrees above where we should be. All right, pretty much clear skies. Not a whole bunch going on. We had some showers out across central Missouri, but we're going to stay pretty quiet as we go through the overnight hours. You can see the wind south, then east. We have stationary front across the region, but temperatures still in the mid 80s. We still have heat indices, a good chunk of us into low to mid to upper 90s. So as we go through the night, we only drop back right around 80. Look at this, 10 a.m. we're already at 87 degrees, so it's going to be a very warm start for us tomorrow. When are we going to cool down? What about rain? We'll look at that here in a bit.
See you soon. The mayor of Galena, Kansas responds to some citizen allegations of police misconduct in the city. And you might recall the council last night heard from 2 Galena citizens with complaints. They claim Galena police don't treat everyone equally and claim officers have unfairly harassed specific individuals or families. One citizen claimed an officer has made an unwarranted threat of physical violence. Due to the length of that meeting, we were unable to get a response from city officials last night, but Mayor Ashley Groves this afternoon says complaints like this are rare and the city has a system for citizens to voice concerns. She adds, quote, "The city of Galena takes allegations of employee misconduct seriously and will follow procedures to ensure the city is providing the highest possible service to our residents." 64-year-old Seneca, Missouri woman is no longer charged with murder after the prosecuting attorney dismissed the charges against her. Police say in December of 2021, Suzette Anderson killed David Wesley Stotts. Anderson maintained it was self-defense, saying Stotts was trying to attack her. She was originally charged with first-degree murder and armed criminal action. Well, now Newton County Prosecuting Attorney William Lynch has filed a motion to dismiss that case because he believes it was indeed a case of justifiable self-defense. Former President Donald Trump says he's the target of another federal investigation, this time for 2020 election interference. Christian Benavides reports from Fort Pierce, Florida, where pre-trial hearings began in the separate classified documents case against Trump.
Former President Donald Trump revealed he is a target of a Justice Department investigation into efforts to overturn the results of the 2020 presidential election. On his social media platform, Trump said he received the so-called target letter Sunday night. He called special counsel Jack Smith deranged and said he has 4 days to report to the grand jury.
The special counsel would not have sent a target letter and would not be apparently poised to actually bring a prosecution against former President Trump if he didn't think he had a winning hand.
Tuesday night, Trump made a campaign stop in Cedar Rapids, Iowa.
If you say something about an election, they want to put you in jail for the rest of your life. It's a disgrace.
Earlier, top congressional Republicans came to the former president's defense.
President Trump went up in the polls and was actually surpassing President Biden for re-election. So what do they do now? Weaponize government to go after their number one opponent.
Meanwhile, the first pretrial hearing was held in connection with a separate federal case focusing on the former president's handling of classified documents. Here in Fort Pierce, Florida, U.S. District Judge Eileen Cannon deferred a decision on setting a date for Trump and his valet, Walt Nauta, on the classified documents case. The judge dismissed Trump lawyers' concerns about seating a fair and impartial jury during a presidential campaign. Christian Benavides, CBS News, Fort Pierce, Florida.
Former President Trump called House Speaker Kevin McCarthy and New York Congresswoman Elise Stefanik to discuss how to defend him in light of the target letter from the DOJ. That's according to a GOP source directly familiar with that call. Coming up, demolition continues on a historic Webb City home to make room for a new restaurant. Plus, some four-staters get the chance to get an up-close look. Well, this isn't the right video, but they look at some creek creatures. Joplin Pizza Restaurant that's been around for 10 years has closed its doors. Carmine's Wood-Fired Pizza announced they've closed their downtown Joplin location. That's on South Joplin Avenue. They say they were recently presented with an exciting business venture that'll take the family who owns it out of state. Pizza Spot recently won second place in the International Pizza Expo with their classic traditional style pizza. They closed their doors on Saturday. Demolition today continues on that historic Webb City home we've told you about. The demolition began last week to make way for a new Popeyes restaurant. The house was built in 1908, once belonged to the former mayor, George Washington Moore. Construction of the Popeyes restaurant is scheduled to begin August 1st, and that restaurant's expected to open just 4 months later. To hear more about the house's history and from some former owners, go online, KOAMnewsnow.com. The Nation of Patriots tour made its way through downtown Joplin. The motorcycle tour is a ceremonial passing of the American flag through each of our 50 states. The intention of the tour is to honor all U.S. military members and their families and aims to meet the needs of each of these brave men and women.
It's not just a piece of cloth. That's something that we have fought for and fought under. That symbolizes the blood that everybody shed to have the freedoms that we have.
The tour will continue its journey Friday morning as it goes into Kansas. You might have heard of the bear crawl, but how about a creek crawl? The Shoal Creek Conservation Education Center today hosted their creek crawl. It gave people the opportunity to check out the life in the creek and what hidden creatures could be in it. When a creature was taken out, naturalists would explain what was caught and what they do in their environment, including their effects on the water. One organism they check out, invertebrates. Naturalists say they correlate with water quality. If there's more invertebrates, then that generally means the water quality is good.
Having clean waters, we wouldn't be able to see a lot of those aquatic macroinvertebrates, those animals that we're going to get to take a look at today. Because without those opportunities, then they wouldn't have this really great place to be able to swim, to be able to kayak, to canoe, to fish. And that's where we're starting here today, because it takes that tiny little insect to have water that's not going to be the best quality to affect our fish population.
Naturalists with Shoal Creek hope the event will show folks how fun it is to be in the water. And if you're looking for more ways to have fun in the water, Wildcat Glades is preparing to host their Shoal Creek Water Festival this weekend. The more than 4-hour event will have cardboard boat races with boats built by some four-staters. There's also a shoebox boat race for kids, a rubber duck race, and a fishing derby. It all kicks off Saturday at 10 a.m., ends at 4:30 p.m. A little later, local college athletes stand out to excel in the classroom. Details at sports.
Unless the heat sticks around, or at least extreme heat, one more day. We're going to look at that coming up. Well, of course, a super hot day for us today. Temperatures triple digits. Once again, that's already 4th or 5th time we've done that this year. Nice shot. Indigo Sky Casino and Resort. Nice and clear tonight. You don't want to open the windows. It's still about 85 degrees. It's nasty outside. Currently, we are sitting at 86. We still have a heat index of 91. Visibility is good. South winds at 11 miles per hour. And check out our heat indices. Still feels like 91 in Webb, 98 Anderson. Grove, Grand Lake feels like 99 degrees. Chatopa at 97 degrees. Pretty quiet here. We had some showers, had some thunderstorms out across central Missouri earlier today. We're dry. We're going to stay dry as we go through the overnight hours tonight. You can see a few showers and thunderstorms out across western Kansas. Those are not going to make it here. And here's the problem, at least with the heat, big dome of high pressure. When you get this in the summer months and it gets close to you, that's when we get the heat dome or the extreme heat across the region. At least we're getting a few waves to rotate over that ridge, giving us at least some chances for showers and thunderstorms. All right, so by morning, start at 80. By the noon hour, we're already into lower 90s. Notice this stationary front. It moves a little bit, but in general, it's fairly stationary. As we go through the afternoon, we could see a few isolated storms popping up along the front. Stockton 96, 98 in Miami, 96 in Parsons, Bentonville 96. So most of us are going to hang out just below 100 for a high tomorrow. Still super hot. All right, tomorrow night, let's go to midnight. Thunderstorms along and on the north side of this front try to work in, so scattered thunderstorms. Here's 1:30 in the morning. Let's go to 3:30 Thursday morning, and then most of these gone Thursday morning. Also notice the front starting to sag to the south. Still going to be hot Thursday. Most of us will go low 90s, mid 90s in our southern counties, upper 80s in our northern counties. But we are going to start to usher in a little bit cooler air. Most likely another complex of storms Thursday night into Friday morning, and that's going to cool us down a little bit as we go into Friday. Not tomorrow, 80 to start, 98 by 4, high temp, 99 degrees. Still, we're going to have those heat indices, which are going to be up there. It's going to feel like 102, 103, 104 degrees once again tomorrow. So if you are going to be outside, make sure you drink plenty of fluids. All right, we were talking about the big dome of high pressure. Watch what happens as we head toward the weekend. It moves back to the west, so we get more waves in here. Also brings in a little bit cooler air. That's good for the weekend. But watch what happens next week. It re-enters. Here it comes again. The big heat dome, meaning the extreme heat will also return next week. 99 tomorrow, 95 on Thursday, morning thunderstorms on Friday. Saturday, not bad. Sunny, 89, back to 96 on Monday. And here comes the triple-digit heat once again for us all of next week.
So my fishing day this weekend is going to be Saturday.
Yeah, Saturday's not going to be bad. 64 Friday night's pretty good.
Yeah, not bad. Thanks, Doug. John Dale's joined us now. Important night of games in the Mink League.
Yeah, that's right. Nevada trying to stay in the wild card hunt, and the Outlaws hanging on to first place. We got highlights coming up. And Missouri Southern Athletics excelling on and off the field. Those stories and more right after the break. High school football season just over a month away, and Fairland just made a change in its leadership. Jimmy Hudson had been the Owls coach for the previous 2 seasons, and he led them to the playoffs and a winning record last year. But in 2023, the Owls will be led by Doug Winters, who will also serve as athletic director for Fairland High School. And Winters has previously coached several different high school sports teams in the 4 states, ranging from Grove Boys basketball a few years ago to Olaga girls basketball. And the Owls begin their 2023 campaign on September 1st at home against Morrison. Now, Missouri Southern may not be competing in any sports right now, but during the athletic season, Lions student athletes excelled both on and off the playing field. In the past week, MSSU volleyball and track and field teams both have received awards. And Missouri Southern student athletes from every sport combined for a 3.21 GPA in the 2022-23 academic year. Now, more specifically, the Lions track and field team had 22 different athletes, 11 from each team, get named to the U.S. Track and Field and Cross Country Coaches Association All-Academic Team. On top of that, Southern Volleyball receiving a team award from the American Volleyball Coaches Association. They've done that now 9 years in a row. And 42% of all MSSU student athletes finished the school year with a GPA of 3.5 or higher. Now, less than a week remaining in the Mink League regular season and a very different final week for our 2 teams from the 4 states. Outlaws have 7 games in 6 days. Nevada, meanwhile, just 3 contests remaining in its regular season. We're starting things out with the Outlaws. They're at home hosting the Carroll Merchants for the 2nd night in a row. Sullivan Lane on the hill for Joplin gets a strikeout in the first, but so does his counterpart, Mark Kenny, for Carroll. 0-0 into the second with a deep fly ball into the gap off the bat of a Carroll Merchant. That gets down, but great outfield play keeps it at a very long single. Later in the inning, Check out this diving catch by Caden Bressler at short, then from his knees, throws on to first. That's an inning-ending double play to stop the frame, keep it at 0-0. Joplin's bats start to heat up in the bottom of the second. First, Jason Lazo finds a soft spot in the defense, gets things started with a bloop single into center. Next batter, Will Kelly pounds one to deep left field. He was the home run derby champ in the Mink League, but didn't hit his first homer of the season until tonight. I really didn't even see that ball land. Two-run shot puts Joplin on top 2-0. We go ahead top three. Carroll trying to steal third, but check out the throw by Carson Green behind the plate. Beats him by a mile and he's out. Outlaws add another in the bottom of the third with this single into center. Brings in Landon Meyer. Joplin wins big, 12-4, your final. Elsewhere in the state, tough loss for Nevada tonight. They enter the night trailing Sedalia by 1 game in the wild card standings. With just 3 games left to play, they come up just short tonight. Tie contest heading into the 9th inning. Sedalia walks it off in the bottom of the 9th. So the Griffins have their work cut out for them. They're going to need to win, and they're going to need a lot of help in these final couple of games. Outlaws, meanwhile, they need to win, and if they can take care of what's in front of them, they'll have a first-round bye in the playoffs.
All right, a tense but exciting end to the season.
Definitely.
We'll be right back. Well, the good news is it might not hit triple digits tomorrow.
But it might.
It might.
I'm forecasting a high of 99.
I know.
So we're real close. I'm sure somebody in our viewing area will hit 100. 95 Thursday, 84 looking pretty nice by Friday, Saturday. Not as bad either.
Final sports note.
Cardinals win again tonight. They're 4th in a row, and on the same day that their GM says we're not trading Nolan Arenado, he's the one who hits a walk-off home run.
Wow.
Yeah.
Worked out well. Thanks for joining us. Don't forget the morning show starts at 5 a.m. and let's make it a great tomorrow.